Hello and welcome to True Guidance Tarot. I'm Adriana Teodoro-Dier. I'm a spiritual medium and intuitive reader, your guide to a clearer perspective. I have a high vibration message for Taurus today. This is a message that is channeled from spirit and from my guides for your benefit. Let's jump right in because we have interesting stuff going on. So Taurus, Five of Swords is the energy that the universe is sending you this week. This is not a comfortable energy. This means that you may have to stand up for yourself, and it may come at a cost to you. That you may be losing an alliance or losing a semblance of harmony. Luckily, it's just in your mind that you think this is happening. But it's kind of the fear that you're cutting something off. By standing up for yourself or standing in your truth, you're cutting something off. But that's exactly what the universe is asking you to do. Now you're responding a bit nostalgically, Six of Cups, looking back at the past. And I clarified the Five of Swords, and they gave me the Eight of Pentacles. So this says to me that we're talking about karmic issues. So whatever you know your karmic issues are, whether it's regarding fear of or lack of money, lack of resources, fears about that, fear about abandonment, fear about rejection, fear of losing face or disappointing others. That's also coming through at the moment. Any of those fears, anything that is tied to past karma, that's kind of where you go. Is you think about this thing happens to you, or you're confronted with these challenges this week, and you kind of go back to the past, maybe revisiting situations or places in your mind and in your emotions that aren't the best place for you. It's almost like you're wanting to relive the past where this kind of thing was triggering a certain reality. Let me put that a different way, because I feel I just went way out there. So hang on a sec while I try to get my words back. It has to do with understanding that standing up for yourself is key for leaving these relations or these issues behind. So if this is about money, this is about changing your thoughts and your feelings in relationship to it. If this is about love and fear of abandonment, then that's about changing your ideas in relationship to that fear, understanding that you can't really ever be abandoned because you're there for yourself. If you're worried about disappointing others, this has to do with, well, it's myself that I need to not disappoint. And that's something that's easier to control. So I've already kind of jumped ahead with your story into Justice, Queen of Swords, and then Three of Wands. Rather than looking back, like these cards are looking back, the 8, Karma, and the 6, Patterns. These two cards want you to look forward in the direction of growth. How can I align my thoughts in the direction of my highest growth, in my highest good, so that they're going to propel me into the future in a way that I want? Do I want to keep reliving these old patterns and old situations? Do I want to keep feeling this old fear? Or how can I get my thoughts disciplined so that they are aligned with that future that I see for myself? They just said to me the word vision when I picked up this Justice card, that you have to have a very objective vision of what you want for the future. Sometimes when we go emotionally back to the past, we get a tainted view of what we want. That nostalgic thing I talked about, saying, oh, but the past was a great place. Okay, yeah, aspects of it may have been great, but you have to look at the bigger picture and how it shaped you into who you are. What I find interesting is that she's wearing purple and this indigo blue, but this almost has it blended together. You can kind of see the sheen is almost like these two blended together. So this is the blend of the truth from the higher self and of that connection to source. So it's kind of trying to remind you that, you're here as a divine being. Conditioning is not your identity. These issues, these old fears are not your identity. Remember that you're here to make decisions and objective decisions that are in line with your higher self, because your higher self sees the future. Your ego sees the past. Another way of putting that is that your mind, your memory, It only works in the past. Even when you're trying to figure out the present, your mind is bringing you memories and concepts and connections from the past. It can only remember. It's the higher self and the intuition that gives you the inclination as to the future. So it's that aspect, it's that alignment with the higher self and with your intuition and with your true north that's really going to give you the vision forward. And I think there's also a little bit of, I'm going to jump straight to your advice. We've got the 9 of Swords. There's a fear of the future. There's a fear of thinking that the future is going to be the same as the past. There's even a fear that the future is going to be the same as your present, that there's something in the future that you just don't like or you're not at peace with. But what we're talking about is the discipline to think of your present as already setting the way, as already paving the way for a bright and growth-filled future. Anything you want to see, any kind of growth or attrition you want to see, whether it's spiritual or material, whatever it is, it has to begin in this moment. You have to be faced towards that direction. So it's kind of like whatever you want to see in the future has to be lived by you now. So if it's financial abundance, it has to be lived now. If it is more love in relationships or open, trusting relationships, it has to somehow be lived now. And, I struggle with this as well, being so literal that I want to say, but this is my reality. I can't delude myself into thinking my reality is something different. And you're right, but reality is also what we think of it. The same people can experience the same reality and come to completely different conclusions. I mean, we see this in the world and politics all the time. So this is about choosing a mindset, choosing a perception that doesn't keep you anchored in the past, that cuts you free from those limitations and fears of the past and really aligns you with the future. And I realize that this is tough information to struggle with and on your own. So if you're feeling like you need some guidance, you know where to find me, link in the description below, or just seek out some clarity, because sometimes it's hard to see out of our own box, especially when we're so afraid that the future is going to contain more of the stuff that we don't want. And that's what I feel has happened, Taurus, is that you're so afraid of the future that you don't even want to go there. But going to the future, it's kind of like healing both at once. When you go to the future and you say, okay, this is what I want, you bring it back to the present and you figure out how to align yourself with that future in the present moment. And all of a sudden you've transfigured and transformed your present. And that's really the key to looking into the future with expectation and anticipation and joy, which is going to cause a complete severing of you with the past and with those past karmas. So questions about that, please let me know. I always love to hear from you. I'm thinking about offering a special Valentine's reading for next week, or Valentine's offering, where we do individual, or let me back up, about love. Not just couple or singles love, is this going to last or whatever, more about how can I allow more love in for myself. And that's valuable whether you're in a partnership or not. If that would be interesting and you'd like to see that offering, let me know. And I will look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great week.